Benjamin Dixon Show is only possible with listener support. Go to www.thebenjamindixonshow.com to register for our blog and join the Progressive Army.
Today is Wednesday, June 24th, 2020. Thanks so much for joining me. Last night was a hell of a night for progressives. Young progressives across the country had a great night. Starting in the 14th district of New York, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez pummeled, absolutely demolished and devastated the Wall Street pick, Michelle Caruso Cabrera. She was picked by the establishment and by Wall Street to challenge AOC, mainly because her initials are MCC. You can't make this up. They thought that she was going to be the next Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Of course not. No. And she won by a bigger margin than she won the last election 2 years ago. She won 72% of the vote. I mean, she absolutely thrashed the establishment pick to primary her. And we'll talk about that in a second. I want to go a little deeper into that, but I want to go down to the 16th district of New York. Elliot Engel, the incumbent, he looks like he is going to fall to Jamal Bowman, the young black man who was a principal. He started a school. He's just all around a dope brother. He looks like he is going to pull it out. We won't know that race for certain for a couple of days because of how many absentee ballots have been written in that district. But if the trends hold, Jamal Bowman is going to upset the pick of Nancy Pelosi, the pick of Hillary Clinton, the pick of Chuck Schumer, and the pick of the Congressional Black Caucus PAC. I'll talk about that in great detail momentarily. Charles Booker down in Kentucky. Shout out to Charles Booker, who is giving Amy McGrath a run for her money. Amy McGrath is the pick of the establishment as well. And I want to be sure, because I know I'm broadcasting to a much wider audience now. And I know that some of the audience people who sit here and they're listening like, oh, I hate that establishment talk. They don't call them an establishment. Just work with them. They know what they're doing. No, the hell they do not. I want you to think about this. Across the country, over 1,000 seats were lost to Republicans because they kept doing the same thing over and over again, kept running the same playbook, and you should honestly be upset with the playbook that they are continuously running. The traditional thought in terms of campaigns, Democratic consultants, there's a lot to talk about. Let's start here. When you donate money to campaigns, a lot of times, those dollars, a high percentage of those dollars go to Democratic consultants. It's the same thing on the other side of the aisle, but we should expect better. You have Democratic consultants who get paid millions of dollars for every single campaign. Not election cycle, but every campaign that they work on, media consultants, they get paid into the millions of dollars. They could run a race and lose the race. We've seen it happen. They can run a race, lose that race, and still be able to buy a Ferrari cash because they get paid anyway. And the strategy that these Democratic consultants have had for years is the same one that has been failing them for years. But it doesn't matter. They keep getting promoted. They keep getting elections. What's the strategy? Well, the strategy is the thing that should piss you off. For everybody who's listening that's like, oh, he's talking about the establishment. He must be a Bernie bro. Sorry to make fun of you because I do need you to hear me out. The strategy that Democrats, I'm also an asshole. I get it. I know it. The strategy that Democrats have been employing every single year, every single election, and they continuously fail, is one of trying to cater to quote unquote moderate Republicans and suburban white women who at 53% voted for Donald Trump. So what they've done in every single election is they try to find somebody who can appeal to white suburban moms. And what have those white suburban moms told them? 53% of them voted for Donald Trump. They told you that I don't care how moderate or how mild or milquetoast of a candidate you get, like Amy McGrath, it doesn't matter because we're still going to vote for Republicans. Democrats and Democratic consultants have been pushing to try to win quote unquote moderate Republican voters for years, and they have lost. And it's not just about losing the presidency, which was bad enough. They've lost thousands of seats over the years. They turned over the majority of the Senate over to Mitch McConnell, the Democratic establishment consulting class. The people who are running Joe Biden's campaign, you don't want to hear this. I'm sorry for you. I've got to tell the truth. The people who are running Joe Biden's campaign come from the same exact class of consultants that turned over the Senate to Mitch McConnell. And there has not been any more consequential loss than that. And that is the plan that they still run around the country. And the reason I bring that up, all in context of Amy McGrath in Kentucky, is because Amy McGrath in Kentucky is exactly the dream. She is the dream candidate of the same Democratic consulting class that has lost 1,000 seats and lost to Mitch McConnell in the first place. Do you think they have what it takes to beat Mitch McConnell? Let me slow down. Do you think that the people who lost the entire Senate to Mitch McConnell have the logic and the strategy necessary to beat Mitch McConnell in Kentucky? Let me go down a little bit deeper. Amy McGrath in Kentucky has raised $41 million. And she lost her home county to Charles Booker, who only raised $1 million. That $41 million is going to make a bunch of Democratic white consultants, because they don't spend on black consultants in the Democratic Party. I should just spill all the tea. They don't spend money on black consultants, not like talking about. No, you could lose as a white Democratic consultant, and if you come with the same playbook that you lost with in 2016 and you bring it to 2020 and you're a white consultant, you get a promotion, even though you lost your race. Ask me how I know. I've been in it. And I know people who have been in it 10 times longer than I have. And it is the same story over and over again. Now, I didn't mean to go off on that tangent that long, but I need you to understand what's happening in Kentucky. You have a Democratic pick, Amy McGrath. She raised a crap load of money, $41 million, and could not even win her home county. Charles Booker, the young black progressive, he won her county, and he's winning in suburban counties, and he's going to dominate in the urban counties. That's because, not only because he's black, it's cool that he's black, but what's important is what he's fighting for. And what people have to understand is that the Democratic Party has been doing their very best to win elections without actually standing for something. They have been trying to win elections for decades without actually standing for something. How did Barack Obama win? He stood for something. Now, whether he implemented those somethings or not, we can argue about that in the comments section, but you cannot deny that in 2008, when he ran because on something. He ran on principles. He ran on helping the common man. And the Democratic Party has done everything they possibly could to avoid actually running on values that help people, because they don't want the responsibility of actually doing something to help people when they get in office. You understand what I'm saying? Amy McGrath in Kentucky is the best example. Okay, I'm sorry. I left out the biggest thing. Like if I'm talking to some people who consider themselves to be a part of the resistance and you're upset at everything I'm saying, then check this out. I'm going to try to convince you one more way, and then I'm going to forget about you and just leave you to your own devices. Amy McGrath came out as a pro-Trump Democrat. In Kentucky, she came out as a pro-Trump Democrat. She said that she would have voted for Brett Kavanaugh. And then when her money started drying up, she had to recant and say, okay, no, I would have voted against him. Nobody really knows what she stands for. She stands for whatever is convenient, but without prompting. Actually, we do know what she stands for, because without prompting, she told us that she would be behind Donald Trump more than Mitch McConnell has been. And that she would have voted for Brett Kavanaugh, the guy who, I love beer. I love beer. This is the type of Democrat that they want to run in Kentucky. And with $41 million, she still lost her own county, and Jamal Bowman is within striking distance. When all of the mail-in ballots are counted, it's a very strong possibility that this young man was going to win with $1 million with what she's wasted with $41 million. And you know where that $41 million go? It goes to the consulting class. It goes to the Democratic establishment consultants who are advising Joe Biden right now. And they could not even help Amy McGrath win her home county. I hope people can see that the underlying problem here is that the Democratic Party has become too much of a money machine. And the people who have benefited from the money they are their own good old boys club. There is a good old boy club in the Democratic Party, specifically in the consulting class, the people who you never see, you never even heard of. But if you see a commercial on television, they produced it. And what they charge $300,000 to produce, so one of us could have produced for $5,000. We have been wasting money and losing seats. We have been wasting hundreds of millions of dollars and losing seats. And people who call themselves consultants have been getting rich out. The people who lost to Donald Trump, the people on Hillary Clinton's campaign who lost to Donald Trump, they are riding in their yachts. While we deal with the ravages of Donald Trump and their failure, they still got paid and they are riding in yachts. I'm sorry. I think we need to make elections predicated on your win. Contingent upon your win, like attorneys. Attorneys, you get a contingency fee. That's if you win. But these consultants have been losing races, getting rich, and ruining this country because they play the same playbook over and over again. And it is to try to appeal to Republicans when in reality, we have to destroy Republicans. All right, let's go back down to New York, the 16th district, and listen to Jamal Bowman speak about poverty and the roots of poverty. Listen in.
Poverty is not a result of children and families who don't work hard. Our children and families work as hard as anyone else. Poverty is by political design, and it's rooted in a system that has been fractured and corrupt and rotten from its core from the inception of America, especially over the last several decades. So poverty and the impact of poverty on our children and dealing with issues of institutional racism and sexism and classism and xenophobia and everything that keeps the majority of us oppressed is what we designed this campaign to fight against. So tonight, as we celebrate, we don't just celebrate me as an individual. We celebrate this movement, a movement designed to push back against a system that's literally killing us. It's killing black and brown bodies disproportionately, but it's killing all of us. It's killing us mentally, psychologically, and spiritually. It's forcing us to live in a country and in a world where so many people are hopeless and have lost faith, not just in the political system, but in each other.
Yeah, I can just tell you from experience that brother is not reading off a teleprompter. He's coming from the depths of his soul. He needs to win. We need to close it out. Close out strong. Go, Jamal. Go. Defeat Elliot Engel, who on a hot mic. This is I got to do it. I got to do it. You're going to get mad at me. Not all of you. My patrons, they love me, so I'm good. Some of my patrons love me. I'm good. The rest of y'all can get mad at me. But I want you to compare this man who was endorsed by Bernie Sanders and AOC. I want you to compare his speech to what this man, Elliot Engel, said about the campaign on a hot mic. And keep in mind, as you listen to this guy, the incumbent who's been there for damn near 20, 30 years. When you listen to him, I want you to realize that he has been endorsed by Chuck Schumer, the Congressional Black Caucus, which I'll get back to in a minute. He's been endorsed by Hillary Clinton and Andrew Cuomo. Listen to the difference in how these men view the seriousness of their campaign and the seriousness of their responsibilities as leaders.
Please bear with me. I'll announce everybody. I appreciate you coming. But then I got to then go down the list, and it's just too many folks here.
If I didn't have a primary, I wouldn't care.
Say that again?
If I didn't have a primary, I wouldn't care. No.
Don't do that to me. We're not going to do this. We're not going to politicize it. Everybody has a primary. You know? I'm sorry.
I mean, imagine the kind of arrogance that's needed for you to be at an event about Black lives and then turn around and say, if I didn't have a primary, I wouldn't care. Now, everybody already knew that he said that. But after he said that, that's when Chuck Schumer came in and endorsed him. That's when Andrew Cuomo came in and endorsed him. Hillary Clinton came through and endorsed him. And even the Congressional Black Caucus PAC came through and endorsed him. The man who says that he would not care. He would not care if it was not for his primary. This should tell you everything that you need to understand about why we fight so hard, so vociferously against the Democratic establishment, because they don't care. You heard it right there with your own ears. They do not care. If it's not about maintaining or obtaining political power, they don't care. We already see that they would throw hundreds of millions of dollars into a campaign and they don't care because their consultants get paid anyway. You gotta understand that if you want to understand why Donald Trump is in power, then you have to look at the Democratic establishment because they keep doing the same playbook in every single election, running people like Elliot Engel, who would not care about the situation in his district. In his damn district, he would not care if he didn't have a primary. That is the nature of the Democratic establishment because that's who came and endorsed him to try to stop him, to try to keep him from losing his seat to Jamal Bowman. Oh, but the people of New York, 16th District, had a few things to say to the Democratic establishment, namely kiss their multicultural asses. All right, let's get back to the Congressional Black Caucus PAC. I want to be sure that I identify them correctly as the Congressional Black Caucus PAC. The Political Action Committee of the Congressional Black Caucus is generally made up of some of the key members of the Congressional Black Caucus. So a lot of people, when we talk about the endorsements that come down from the CBC PAC, we just say the CBC. But there's a difference. You have some Republicans in the Congressional Black Caucus. They would never endorse a Democrat. But the CBC PAC is overwhelmingly pro-Democratic leaning, and they only endorse Democrats. And they endorse losers. They endorsed in 2018, they endorsed the opponent, the incumbent, to protect them from Ayanna Pressley in Massachusetts. Ayanna Pressley won. They have endorsed Elliot Engel. And it looks like Jamal Bowman is going to trounce that clown. In both of those cases, the CBC PAC, who likes to play games of identity politics, they ignore identity politics to endorse the incumbent. And I want to ask anybody who's like, well, these people have experience and we got to keep them in there because they know what they're doing. What the hell are they doing? What are they doing? They couldn't even successfully impeach Donald Trump. I mean, they barely did that. They almost didn't get the articles of impeachment from the House of Representatives. So what are they doing? What are all these people with the experience that you think need to stay in Congress and they've been there for 30 years? What do you think that they are actually doing for you? Holding a blue seat? Is that the standard? Is that all you really want, is to hold a blue seat, but a blue seat that doesn't do anything for you? A blue seat that turns around and does and actually operates against you? In this movement for Black lives against the police state, you have Democrats who are in league with the police state. Is that what you want from them? And so I look at the Congressional Black Caucus and say, You guys are really proficient at weaponizing identity against progressives, but you conveniently forget about identity when that person is a progressive. Jamal Bowman, a black man, running a fabulous campaign with all of the credentials you could want, with all of the passion and capacity that anybody could ever dream of, makes Elliot Engel look like a dried up prune. Not just in terms of his age, but in terms of his character and his passion. He has no life whatsoever when it comes to fighting on behalf of the people of his district. And you know he doesn't give a shit about the black people in his district, but the Congressional Black Caucus PAC endorsed him anyway. I'm sorry. I need to collect every single black card from every single member because you're not there to even promote blackness, especially when that blackness is there promoting the uplift of our community. You're there to protect power. I don't care. I want to be clear. I don't want a black face to be the face of American empire and the face of white supremacy and the face of capitalism run amok. I am not interested in just having a black person. If that was the case, why don't they go ahead and endorse Ben Carson? I'm not interested in just the skin color of an individual. I want the politics. I want the policy. I want the economic policy. But if I get a black man or woman or non-gender conforming individual who has the economic policies that will help out the normal, average, everyday American, that would help out the working class, that would help out poor black people just like it would help out poor white people, poor Latinx people. If that black person has the economic policies that are representative of what the Democratic Party claimed to be about, and those policies are better policies than their opponent who is white, then how the bloody hell do you justify endorsing the white candidate who does nothing for black communities and you call yourself the Congressional Black Caucus? I want to be sure. I want to state it again, and I want to state it a little more succinctly. I don't expect the CBC to endorse someone just because they're black, but you sure as hell better endorse the black candidate when they are more qualified, when they are more passionate, when they are more concerned about the community, and they have economic policies that are going to benefit black people. You sure as hell better endorse the black person. Clowns. There's a song that was played, and it was in honor of the Republicans, the black Republicans who were supporting Donald Trump this weekend. I want to play it here. Here's to the Congressional Black Caucus PAC. I don't apologize. Let's do this patron party.
Go to www.patreon.com/The BPD Show and get twice the content and unfiltered interviews without any of the commercial interruptions.
And here we go. Boom. At this point in every single episode, I like to take a minute to thank the people who make this show possible, our patrons. Very special welcome to Frank Lahorg. Thank you for becoming a patron. Max Lissette. Thank you for becoming a patron. James Blackwater, thank you for becoming a patron. Alex Zaleski, thank you for becoming a patron. Bounce. Shakira Thompson, thank you for becoming a patron. Now, everybody just bop your head. That's it. You too can become a part of this prestigious and prodigious patron family by going to patreon.com/the BPD show, where you get twice the content, uncut interviews, none of the commercial advertisements, and you give me the ability to speak truth to power, whether the powerful like it or not.
Welcome back to The Benjamin Dixon Show. Visit us online at thebenjamindixonshow.com.
All right. Here we go. All right, let's talk about it. One last segment for the public, and then we'll jump over to the patrons only episode. You can get access to the patron episode by going to patreon.com/the BPD show. Okay. Listen, I know we have to get rid of Donald Trump. I think that is the most critical thing that's happening right now is Donald Trump has got to go for every reason that I've laid out on this show many, many, many times. But let me tell you how you don't beat Donald Trump. You do not beat, you will lose. Let me say it this way so no one is confused. Let me tell you how we will lose to Donald Trump. We will lose to Donald Trump if we keep doing the same thing that lost in 2016, the same thing that lost 1,000 congressional seats over the last 12 years, the same thing that these Democratic consultants have gotten paid billions of dollars to run the same playbook over and over again. And instead of taking responsibility for their piss poor strategies, they want you to blame Russia. They want you to blame third parties. They want you to blame Bernie Bros. They want you to blame anybody but the Democratic consulting class. Some of you probably have never even heard about the consultants and the consulting class. They have one playbook, and this is how they will lose. Their only strategy is to appeal to people they know. White conservatives from the suburbs. They feel like the best way to beat Donald Trump is to try to appeal to the people who voted for Donald Trump last time. This is a losing strategy. And what they do instead is completely ignore black and brown communities. They don't put any money. The $41 million that Amy McGrath spent, I can guarantee you probably less than $400,000 went to the black vote or to the Hispanic vote. The Democratic consulting class does not see the value in investing in marginalized communities. They will just expect us and demand that we show up, but they don't spend a dime trying to get our vote. And when I say spend a dime trying to get our vote, I mean calling, canvassing, getting people to put signs in their yards. The really practical way of campaigning. This is how you lose to Donald Trump. You lose to Donald Trump by trying to appeal to white Republican conservative voters in the suburb and ignoring the black vote, ignoring the Hispanic vote, the Latinx vote, ignoring all of the groups that you just expect. They just expect us to vote for them. And they won't even spend money with black consultants. Ask me how I know. Everybody who's irritated with what I'm saying, how many campaigns have you worked on? How we will lose to Donald Trump is by doing the same thing that lost to him the first time, and it was not Russia. Russia did not lose the election for us. What lost the election is that the Democratic establishment consulting class does not believe in getting out the vote in the black community. What they believe is that black folks are just going to show up because Republicans are more racist. This is proven. I don't even have to make this case. I'm sorry to anybody who can't see it. I don't know what to tell you other than get ready to lose again. And this time we can't afford to lose. We cannot afford 4 more years of Donald Trump. And so if they are employing the same strategy that Amy McGrath, the consultants in Kentucky who are advising Amy McGrath, spending $41 million, it doesn't matter how much money you raise. If you are just giving it to a bunch of consultants and they're going to go buy cocaine and Ferraris, instead of putting money into the black and brown communities, the very people that you need to show up at a disproportionate rate. Check me out. The Democratic Party needs the African American vote, the black vote, to show up at a disproportionate level in order to win. What do I mean? The Democratic Party needs 60% of black people in this country to come to the polls. And out of that 60% that come to the polls, they need over 90% to vote for the Democratic Party. If we don't show up in those kinds of numbers, the Democratic Party loses. But when they are in their strategy meetings and they are allocating funds to different sectors, to different demographics, they don't spend it on black consultants, and they don't spend it in black communities. They don't spend it on black media. Ask me how I know. Talk to Roland Martin. Roland Martin, he will show you the data. You can find the data yourself. You don't even have to talk to Roland Martin. They don't spend money on black media. They just have an underlying assumption. But where do they spend it? They spend it in communities that aren't going to vote for them in the first place. White conservative women are going to vote with their husbands, who overwhelmingly vote for the Republican candidate. 53% of white women voted for Donald Trump. Those are those suburban soccer moms that a consultant spends so much time and money trying to get their vote, and every single election they lose. And what do they give you to explain it? Russia, Bernie Bros, third party. Y'all better listen to somebody who know what the hell they're talking about. Anyway, that's my time for the public show. Thank you for being a beautiful audience. Patrons, stay tuned. There's another 30 minutes to go. Everyone else, I will see you tomorrow.
The Benjamin Dixon Show is only possible with listener support. Go to www.patreon.com/The BPD Show and support The Benjamin Dixon Show. If you like this episode, be sure to share, like, and subscribe.